Hello and welcome to SCN Corporate Connect. I'm Jane King at the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. And with me today, Mykalai Kontilai, the founder and CEO of Collectors Café, and also Weston Anson, the chairman of Consor, and also an advisor and investor in Collectors Café. So welcome. So tell me a little bit about Collectors Café.
Well, Collectors Café is going to be launching in 2018 as the master brand for the collectibles industry. So imagine a master brand bringing billions of collectors together with the first ever lifestyle experience, going from social media to digital content to everything you can ever imagine in one giant brand. So we believe it's, in a way, kind of the last of the large market roll-ups that exist. And from that standpoint, most importantly, we believe we have the only solution in the world to collectibles fraud through our authenticity insurance program backed by many of the top insurance companies in the world.
And that's big.
So for the past number of years, we've been building an asset portfolio of digital media assets, intellectual property assets, and inventory assets to roll out finally the first master brand to serve the entire collectibles market, which is our goal in the future.
Now, I had no idea how big collector's market was. It's huge.
Gigantic. It's about a $300 billion a year market comprised of 6,000 categories, excluding fine art. Add fine art into that, you're talking close to $1 trillion category.
Wow. So we're talking about sports, collectibles, cars. I mean, what would all be included in that?
Everything you can imagine, from antiques, sports, rock and roll, Barbie dolls, boats, cars, literally the list goes on, to the weird and exotic to the institutional type program.
Yeah, and you saw some interesting things with this business when you were looking at it, and you do intellectual property, so this was something that was attractive to you. Why?
Yeah, and I'm chairman of a firm called Consor, and Consor as a firm engages really in valuing intellectual property for everyone from MasterCard worldwide to Snapchat to the estate of Michael Jackson. Our role is to identify for our clients the value of their intellectual property and their intangible assets. And it's unusual to find a company like Collectors Café that has such a broad range of IP, as we call it. It has both a good foundation in brand assets, and it also has a good foundation in technical intellectual property. And as an individual, that's what brought me to being an investor. So much value is tied up today in companies with their intellectual property.
Well, it's fascinating to place a value, to quantify intellectual property. Like, it seems like you can take a car or whatever and know the value of it based on the market,
right,
what the market will bear, but intellectual property is a little more complicated.
It's interesting you bring that, because Wes has a book called IP Valuation and Management, which is published by the American Bar Association,
right,
that talks about how do you actually do that, which I found very interesting. But what we're most proud of in this company is that we believe we have probably the only solution ever created for fraud epidemic in the collectibles.
A huge issue in collectibles.
About $100 billion a year in fraud takes place from everything you can imagine that's fake, from fake watches to fake purses to fake autographs. And what I'm most proud of about this company is that I've invented authenticity insurance, which we'll talk about, I know, in the future a little bit more, but where the top insurance companies in the world, from Lloyd's of London to Chubb, are underwriting for the first time insurance that will protect every item that's sold on the Collectibles Café platform.
And what's important about that is the fact that it's protected by intellectual property, by patents, by an operating system that is not duplicable by someone else. That is one of the unique things about Collectors Café.
Dig into the business a little bit, because it's multimedia. I mean, you've really done a masterful job of taking all these different kinds of media and having them play off each other, and they all kind of reinforce the brand. So we talked about the TV show, you've got social media, you've got websites. Go into that a little bit.
So I've been in my laboratory for a number of years, producing hundreds of pieces of digital content, evergreen content, for our Collectors 2 platform. We have an integrated social network and auction house that finally, imagine Facebook meets Amazon for the collector, where you can actually meet up with your friends, show your collectibles off, and then protect people from fraud. So we've been building all these assets, and now we're going to roll it out in 2018 with the launch of the Collectors Café TV series. as well as rolling out the website, which will have all these unique experiences from, as I mentioned, collector book to collector tube to collectorpedia. So basically a passion lifestyle website for all things you can imagine in the collectibles industry.
What about international business? How does that fit into this whole model?
Well, one of the things that we have to remember is that the collector's market is not just the U.S. It's also the U.K., it's also China, it's many markets. And one of the things that Collectors Cafe has done is they've protected much of their intellectual property, not only in the U.S., but also overseas. So there are registrations for trademarks. Some are here, some are overseas. And as we expand, more and more of the intellectual property will be protected, both here and in other countries.
How many people are collectibles or do collecting?
We believe right now there are close to 2.5 billion people in the world that actually have collected something at some point in their life. That may be very conservative, because when you think about it, everything that you basically see is a collectible. From the furniture you're sitting on to televisions to things you can't even imagine. So we believe there's a collector in everybody.
Now you have several celebrities that are also involved, so talk to me about those partnerships.
So we have Larry King, who's our global brand ambassador.
Is he a collector?
He has an amazing collection, and actually we went into his home, into his museum room to see some of the things he's built, he's been given over the years.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I would say he's a collector.
Yes.
We were actually here at NASDAQ last year. Our company owns the Jackie Robinson contracts that broke the color barrier, which are considered the founding documents of the civil rights movement. Larry came on with me because he's from Brooklyn. So Larry King and some other celebrities who also are going to be selling their collectibles on their own pages within our portal. So imagine you want to buy a Larry King collectible, buy it directly from Larry King on Collectors Cafe, insured by Lloyd's of London.
Yeah, interesting. So, okay, so both of you, just the last question, what's the timetable? Like you mentioned 2018 is like a big launch for the TV show, right? That's
Yes.
kind of the linchpin of this whole thing. So, and then what's next after that?
So we are currently going to roll out the show in 2018, and we're going to soft launch the website at the same time. Okay. And then as the TV rolls out, all of those experiences will be rolled out alongside our digital platform. So 2018, we believe, is the year of the collectibles revolution that's coming.
Okay, Weston, anything finally to add?
Now, I would only say this, that as anyone out there looks at companies, look at their intellectual property, look at the quality of their technology, look at the quality of the protection for their brand assets, and make your investment decisions based on that.
Okay, thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
And it just sounds like a fascinating concept. I can't wait to see
so
the show
much.
next year. And thank you so much for joining us, Weston and Mykalai as
Pleasure.
well. And thank you as well for joining us on SCN Corporate Connect. I'm Jane King at the NASDAQ Market Site in Times Square. Have a great day.